All right. I hope everyone is comfortable with it. So we need to keep this recording for other participants and for future, since even though everyone is here now, but we'll still need to keep the recording on. All right. So firstly, thank you all of you for joining and welcome to today's session. I hope you are all doing well and are as excited as we are to get started. Do feel free to switch on your cameras and ask questions in the middle, though I will be stopping and making sure that all of you are able to speak and raise your concerns and questions. So we at Let's Localize are thrilled to welcome you all to the STEM program by our esteemed program partner, CreativeHUT, and the program being sponsored by Cognizant, our major and near corporate partner. So it is congratulations on being selected as one of the participating schools. It's truly an honor to have you all here. So today will mark the beginning of the entire program with the first CPD session firstly taking place today. There will be upcoming sessions and I will be sending you the invites for them as we move along. Well, this program is packed with everything STEM related, aiming to equip you with the skills and knowledge to inspire your students. Over the course, as I mentioned, there are 2 CPD sessions and an interlock session. Along with it, there are 2 expert talks specifically designed for your students. I have sent out the dates for the expert talks, so I will request. A couple of schools have not responded if they're okay with those dates. Please let us know and we'll send out the invites and confirm the dates. Firstly, I'll just share my screen to share the outline of how today's session is going to look like. Even though I have sent the session outline before, allow me to share my screen and let me know if it's visible. I hope the screen is visible to everyone. Okay, great. Firstly, we have a warm welcome note by our generous sponsor, Cognizant, represented by Vanessa. Vanessa will be sharing Cognizant's vision and their commitment to supporting STEM education across the UK. Then we have the rewards in the platform walkthrough where you can find the lesson plans, upload the images and pictures, and fill in the survey. The most of you have today filled in the survey. Thank you so much. It was such a great response. You are aware where to find it, but I'll walk you through it once again. And then we will have the heart of the program, that is the CPD session hosted by Nick. Vanessa, now I will be giving the stage to you for sharing your the Cognizant's mission and vision for the program, for sponsoring the program.
Hi, thanks very much, Aprajita. So first of all, welcome everybody. Thank you for participating and giving up your time this afternoon. I'm Vanessa Soames and I'm the Social Value Director at Cognizant. So what I wanted to talk to you and just do a bit of an opener is just to explain why we are sponsoring this program and what our aims are to get out of it. So my first question is do any of you know who Cognizant are? So I might start by telling you a bit about ourselves, but is there anyone on the call who is already familiar with our company and what we do? Don't be shy and don't be embarrassed if you don't, because I call us the best kept secret. So we are a huge organization. We're on the New York Stock Exchange. We have 350,000 employees worldwide. Essentially, we do tech solutions, every single tech solution you can possibly think of, from developing the tech solution to implementing the tech solution to consulting on tech solutions. For those of you who are fans of Netflix Drive to Survive or Formula One, most people know us through that because we sponsor the Aston Martin car in Formula One. We also sponsor a lot of golf. We're the key partners with the FA. And you have all touched us at some point. And the reason for that is in the UK specifically, One of our biggest clients is HMRC. So all tax, anyone taxed or doing anything around tax, you've touched our services. We've developed that, implemented that, put that in. And our other big area of where we're involved is the DFE. So hence why one of the goals of why we're involved in this program. So we have huge amounts of work across schools with the DFE. And as part of that, we're trying to also show what impact we can do for the next generation in upskilling everybody in technology and giving people an insight and developing their skills into technology. And there's millions of other places that we've done most of if anyone does online shopping, I'm not going to quote which online shopping we're in, but again, we fixed all that. Specifically in COVID, we were pulled in to help with that. We did a lot of how they went out to get the research before the vaccines. We put in those processes. So we are a company that's touching a lot of your day-to-day lives. If any of you have children or your students do anything at the weekends in terms of football and use the FA app for the kids to put together their football games, that is also our initiative. So what we do is we work with and want to show how we are supporting education. And specifically as a corporate, we have a goal and we call this initiative Synapse. And that is the aim to improve the lives of workers around the world. And our goal is to train 1 million individuals for gainful employment in digital skills by 2026. And what we're doing is empowering individuals for cutting edge technology skills like generative intelligence for the digital age. And what we do to do that is collaborate with governments, academic institutions, businesses, and other strategic partners to prepare individuals for the future workforce. So what we're doing is, in this case, that strategic partner for us is Let's Localize and CreativeHUT, so that we can go into schools and upskill teachers and give students a passion for STEM so that they're thinking of their future. And what we're trying to do with this program is make technology fun, but also future-proof it, because we're under no illusions with AI, what you're trying to do with technology is going to be very different in the future. So we work with a consortium of partners to provide that training and jobs that will then, after programs such as this, they'll go into different skill sets and then they'll be employed through our Synapse program. So that's just a bit about us. I want to say thank you for all your support. I hope in the future, if I don't get to meet some of you personally, then some of my colleagues do. We do come in. At the start of the call, Aprajita talked about some sessions. That is my team that we organise to get them. And this is not a partnership where we're just stepping back and handing over the resources to make this happen. This is a partnership where we're very much involved. And as part of that commitment, our DFE client partners that work with us, they will also be coming and looking at the impacts that we want to showcase exactly how much difference and the impacts we've had on the various students' lives. So we'll be asking you quite a lot of information. We'll be working with you and asking you for the feedback because we continually want to improve the program all the time. So thank you very much. Unless anyone's got any questions for me, have a lovely afternoon. Please enjoy the program. This is the start of a few sessions. And best of luck.
All right. Thank you so much, Vanessa. That was a wonderful keynote. And I'm sure everyone here is now even more motivated to complete the program and get started with the robots. And we're really eager. I believe, at least I was eager to know the mission and the vision behind Cognizant's involvement. And with the DFE involved, I'm sure the program is going to be really, really successful. Thank you so much. If anyone has any questions for Vanessa, please do raise your hand. I'll unmute and you can ask your questions. All right. So now I'll give a quick platform walkthrough where you can easily navigate, where you will be able to find all of the lesson plans, upload the journal pictures, as well as fill up the survey forms. So again, allow me to share my screen. All right, so this is all of your school's dashboard. I think you have seen it multiple times now because of the email communications I've been making and asking you to sign up and fill up the forms. So right under this Screen Skills program on the left, you can access your program and the course and the content within the program. Right after you go to Green Skills, you will need to go on Registered Programs. Under Register Program, you will need to go on CreativeHUT. You will click on it, and that will take you to another page. Okay, sorry, sure where that happened. Yeah, sorry. You will need to, I think there is some tech issue. Yeah, going to Green Skills, then Registered Programs, clicking on CreativeHUT, and that will take you to the course where you can access all of the course content. You need to go on the course content tab. There's a section called Introduce Yourself, which some of the schools have already filled in. Thank you so much. And then there is a pre-programmed survey where we are asking really important questions to see the impact this program is making on the students' life and on with the schools. So these data points are essentially very important for us to be able to see the impact of what of how large the impact has is the program able to create. After that, there are lesson plans in PDF format for all of the lessons up to lesson 9, which Nick will be talking about in much more detail, who's the trainer from CreativeHUT. And after that, we have this section which is called, after every lesson plan, we have this section called Share Your Experience. So what your experience has been with the program. You can share that. You can add pictures and videos. And as I mentioned earlier, this part of the program, this part of the platform would be really important for us to see the impact and evidence of the kits being utilized. We already have had a couple of schools who have started filling up the survey form, uploading their images and the school and their session pictures. All right, so this was the important bit about where you can find the survey questions, where you can upload the images and access the course content. I hope I have answered all of your questions based on the questions I've been getting since morning, and it's all clear now. Any questions till now? Anyone?
I don't have a question, but I just wanted to add to what you have said, Apra. So if you just can go back to the screen, to the logged in page of the program, please.
Divya, please introduce yourself.
Yeah, sure. Hi, hello everyone. I'm Divya. I'm the founder of Let's Localize, and really pleased to see you all here. And we are super excited about this program where we want to empower the educators and inspire the students with the help of our corporate partner, Cognizant and CreativeHUT. So thank you so much, everyone, for taking time out. Yeah, so in this program, what we are trying to do here is Cognizant has sponsored 15 secondary schools. And as Vanessa mentioned, that there are certain objectives that has to be met, both in terms of impact and also in terms of kids being utilized in the classrooms. We understand that you have a very busy schedule, your curriculum and all of that. We totally appreciate that. So hence what we have done is we have made it very seamless for you. The lesson plans are organized into lessons, into a very structured format, which I think Neil and Gareth, they will be able to explain it to you. But on the platform, as you see that 4 teachers have introduced themselves, please introduce yourself on the platform. There's a capability. And the reason for that is we really want to know all those stunning teachers who are going over and above to make an impact and to empower our children for the future workforce. So please introduce yourselves. And subsequently, there are survey questions. These survey questions are very essential for the corporate because on the basis of your answers, they kind of produce a report that they have to submit to their clients, which in this case is the DFA. So everything that you see on the platform, there is a mandate that we have received from the sponsor, and hence we humbly request you that as you go along, please do submit these surveys, as these are very, very important for the client. So just wanted to add that. And also your journals and all of that, when you submit, when you post pictures, it brings a smile on our faces because we really want to see what all is happening in the classroom. And last but not the least, we also have something called support tab. Apra, if you can go on the support tab, please. Support. Yes. So here, during the period of this program, if in case you face any questions, any issues whatsoever, by using this button, please feel free to reach out to us. We are here 24/7 to come and to support you. And likewise, we also have our creative partner in this program. They will be there to assist you all along. And the reason why we have set up 2 CPD sessions is, yes, today, after CPD session, you may want to start using the kits. But as you go along, you may find that, oh, you are having some issues, you want some answers. Hence, there's a CPD session too. So feel free to register yourself for the next session. And in between the CPD sessions, if you have any questions, so this is how you can reach out to us. Thank you. Thank you. So thank you, everyone. And handing it over to Apra.
Apra, you're on mute. You're on mute.
Sorry. So I also wanted to let all of you know that we have incredible rewards for all of the participating schools for filling up the journal section, for coming on to these sessions, virtual sessions, attending them, and doing all the needful of uploading the images, pictures, as well as submitting the sustainability challenge where the prizes are laptops. So I'll let Nick take over right now, who will start with the CPD session. Once he is done with that, I will introduce the rewards and what prices we have. There are some really amazing ones, laptops being one of them, which are getting sponsored by Cognizant again. So it'll be an amazing journey to reach to that point. Nick, I will be giving the stage and the screen access to you now, and not both the schools anymore.
Apra, we have a question here. So yes, definitely. Yes, you will have access, Emily, to the course content in the next academic year as well. And that applies to all the schools because we believe that these kits are good for next 1 year. So yes, you will be able to utilize the content, but you will be registered in a separate batch. So Apra, if you can take that question after the CPD session, please.
Yes. So as again mentioning that, firstly, we have Nick who will be taking up the CPD session. Feel free to stop him in the middle and feel free to keep dropping questions in the chat box. I'll keep answering those questions there, as well as there will be a question answer round after Nick has completed the training in the session. And I'll take all of the questions there. Also, you can feel free to email me. I will respond within 24 hours or within hours if it's absolutely urgent.
Thank you very much for that introduction. Hello there, everyone. So my name's Nick Hughes, and I'm going to do some training on the MBOTs with you. Just while I get my presentation up, quick question to put in the chat. Could you tell me what year groups you're planning on using the MBOT with in particular? And also, if you don't have the MBOT near you, please grab it because I'd like to do some hands-on stuff. So I'd like you to have a fiddle with it. So if you don't have your MBOT to hand, go grab it so you've got it. Okay, so quickly do that in the chat while I pull up my presentation. There we go. Can someone give me a thumbs up that you can see my screen? Excellent. That's good. That's it. It would be very nice as a fellow teacher and all teachers, to see the faces of the people we're talking to. You know, we like that in our classrooms, don't we? Be very nice. I understand if you don't have a camera at all. Be really good to see the faces. So therefore, I can see who I'm talking to. You know what it's like as a teacher. Just seeing some things in the chat. As it was just mentioned, if there's any questions, please unmute yourself and just talk. To be honest, we're a small group, or put them in the chat. Anything specific about what I'm talking now to do with the MBOT. I'm seeing year 9, year 7, range of year groups as well. Cool, excellent, great. Okay, so just to put a little bit of context in it. So I'm Nick. I'm a computing specialist teacher at a primary school. We use these devices at primary level as well. So even though it's a device that you're using at secondary level, it's absolutely perfectly acceptable to use it at primary, which is why I think I've been asked to do it, because I've got a lot of experience with it. I've written a book about not this version of the MBOT, but the previous version for the company. And I've been using it since it came out, 8, 9 years ago, because there's been a few different versions of this little chap. And I've just gendered it. Apologies for that, because it doesn't matter who it is, because of course they are just robots, aren't they? It's an it, not a he or a she. So what we're going to do is we're going to just cover these basic things, as you can see on the screen, a little bit of getting started. Hopefully some of you have already got along there. You've already started building it. And you've had a little play, but I'm just going to go through those steps, because there are some quirks that you may or may not have come across yet. We're going to talk about how to connect the MBOT, because that, I think, for me, is the biggest quirk. I'm going to go through some basic programming ideas, just some little ideas that I'd like you to have a go at trying right now in front of us. And then we'll talk about some of the curriculum resources that you've already been shown as well. I'm not going to go all the way through the curriculum resources, because it's probably better for you to read them and then come back with questions. But I will talk through roughly what it is. If that sounds okay, I will crack on. So something that I just think is always worth talking about is, why do we talk about robotics? Why is it something that's important? Why is this project in terms of STEM being something that's attracted your attention? It's because it's the most tangible way of attending to the idea of inputs and outputs within computing. There's a lot of computing you can do without actually getting stuff out, but actually that's when you're starting to look at inputs and outputs and variables. And it's a really nice example of the IPO model, because you've got inputs from the device, because true robots always have inputs, the processing, of course, on the device, and then an output. So it's a really nice way of demonstrating in a really physical, tangible, and exciting way for kids, because sometimes you've done a lot on screen and now you want to move it to the next step. That's definitely how it works with us in our school here. So this is an MBOT. I'm curious how many people have actually even looked at their MBOT, picked it up. What I'm curious about, and this is a question I would ask children, exactly the same thing, and I'm going to treat you like a class. In the chat, I'd like you to put down, what did you notice about the MBOT the first time you built it and picked it up? What things did you notice that were on the MBOT? What things did you notice? In your chat, or if you really want to, you can unmute yourself. I'm going to give you 30 seconds to think about those things. What did you notice about it? Thank you, those people who I can see are typing. Its little face. Yes, it has a face. Excellent. That is absolutely something. All the kids, when I do it, there's a little smiley face, which is good. Anything else? I always push for a bit more than face. Good. What else? Sorry if I'm coughing. It's that time of year with colds in schools. Anyone else you noticed? See screen. See-through element, yeah. So you can actually see the inside of the circuit board inside this. So you can see elements of it. You should be able to see the CPU on there, etc. Various connections. Again, detachable CyberPi unit. Good. Excellent. Thank you, Amy. So this bit comes off. If people haven't realized it, this actually comes off, depending on how many people have built it, this comes off. This doesn't work. It does work independently of it, because actually this is the bit where you're actually doing the programming. This bit is just the bit you've attached to it. So it's important that these two things work together. Anything else? One of the things kids often say to me is like, it's got wheels. Yeah, that's important. It's got nuts and bolts, screwdrivers. Yeah. You have to build it with nuts and bolts. Yep. Good. One more thing. Let's get one more thing. Buttons, sensors, good. There are some sensors that are very obvious on it. Now, it depends on what your definition of a sensor is. Are button sensors in your view? Some people will say they are, some people are not. But there are buttons on the Pi unit. And of course, you've got color sensors and line follower sensors down the bottom. And you've, of course, got a sonic sensor at the front. So you've got a number of sensors. There are also technically sensors inside the motors because these are smart motors and it will work on varying degrees. So there is a sensor there as well. Okay, let's move on. So within a lot of the documentation you come across, it may even, it's pretty still in the box as well. These are, you know, this is an overview of course, the MBOT, all the different parts of it. Quite a lot of it we've identified. The top bit, that bit underneath there, that's sort of the main components which make the robot itself move. And there's lots of plugs around the outside which allow you to plug in extra things that you may get in the future, but there's lots of expandability with this product. And this is the CyberPi in the back. There's a lot of things this can actually do. If you've played with any of it, the children in my class found the video games very quickly. There's a little Space Invaders game on there and things like that. Even though that wasn't the aim of what we were trying to do, they found that very quickly. So you can program it to do even more things like that. So make code arcade and things like that. It's got, not, it won't do that, but it's got some similar programming possibilities for that as well. But that does need to be plugged in. There's no separate battery pack for the CyberPi. For the MBOT itself, it just needs to be attached. Cool. Good. So in terms of programming the MBOT, there's two ways of doing it. I'm going to mainly talk about the block-based version. There is a Python version as well. Depending on your year group, you'll probably want to push towards Python, but I'm going to focus on blocks just because everyone should be happy with that. And depending on what you're doing, in terms of all the documentation that has been shared with you already on that platform you just showed, all of those examples are block-based examples. None of them use Python at all. But those people with Python expertise, it will not be difficult for you to look at the Python aspect. I'll show you where that is on the software. So this is an example of what the software looks like. I'm hoping most people look at it and go, oh, it looks like Scratch. Yes, it does. That's exactly what it does. It looks like Scratch. And there's a number of different ways you can use the software. Now, I'm not fully sure of how what types of devices people have got. Yes, they are essential. You cannot program it without some sort of device. You can't program it on itself. There's some basic programs on there, but you can't program it on the device itself. So if you've got a Windows computers, I'm currently working on a Mac here. If you've got a Windows computer or a Mac computer, you can install a piece of software called MBlock. And that will sit on the machine. There is a version of the software that works within a browser, which is probably much easier. If we're using Chromebooks and things like that, you'll need to do that. So this website address, I'm just going to click on it and go to it. I'm going to put it into the chat, just so if you haven't got it installed, you can quickly go and sort of get to it quite quickly. So this is the way I use it quite a lot in class, just because it's easier. We're a Chrome school ourselves, but it doesn't mean you don't really have to install much to make it work. There is a little bit you do need to install, but there isn't much. And you can see from the way the piece of software works, you've got all the blocks you'd expect. And then the main difference is, of course, instead of adding sprites, you're adding devices. That's how it works. So you've got all the blocks here and you've got different aspects. This is all for the CyberPi. Okay, these are all the things the CyberPi can do. And quite a lot of those things will interact with what the MBOT chassis can do as well. You've also got your classic Scratch blocks, which probably everyone here is familiar with. Okay, these are all the more familiar blocks, but with some extra bits talking about when the CyberPi starts up and when the inputs on the CyberPi can be used. Because you can program the buttons on the back of the MBOT to actually do things. So in terms of getting initially set up, what you need to do is you need to get the software and you need to add, by clicking on one of these plus buttons, you need to add the MBOT itself into the device library. Now, online, it works fine within the software, which I will show you that version of it as well in a minute. It's just about clicking. There is a little star that you can click on. If you click on that star, it should, I'm going to say should, remember you want that installed when you open the software. In practice, I do not find that remembers very often. So often you just have to always click on that add box. So now what that's done is it's added some extra blocks. So the MBOT chassis, and these are all the blocks that the programs that the blocks that we can use to program the chassis. There are more bits and bobs as well about extension ports, because it actually lets you do the ports. So there's quite a lot of blocks to look at. But initially, you're just looking at the chassis blocks. You're probably looking at the, some of the CyberPi blocks, and of course your classic Scratch blocks. Is there any questions up to that point? Are we all happy so far? Just going to pause. Good. Seem to be happy. Okay. In the chat, could you just give me an indication of what devices you're currently going to be using with the MBot? Is it Windows computers? Is it laptop? Is it Chromebooks? Is it Macs? Just because that will, I might just switch something I'm going to talk about in a second. The software, I'm just going to switch to the software. The software looks like this. Okay, looks exactly the same, virtually no difference whatsoever. This looks the same in Mac and PC, so depending on what device you are currently using, laptop, browser, Windows. Okay, so we've got a range of devices. Okay, so I'm going to click Add here, do the same thing. You click Add, and then it'll open up the box in a second. This is where I'm trying to do too many things at once. Don't you love live demos that don't do what you want them to do? I'm going to go back to the other one while I close that and restart it. So I'm just going to go back to the browser version for a second. The browser version also needs something called mlink installed. I think I've got a link to that on the slide. So this is these I'll share with I can share with you later, or I can send on to you a bit later on. So there's a couple of different bits of software. So you've got web-based and this little software called mlink. It's a tiny piece of software you have to install that allows your USB or Bluetooth to talk to the software. And then also the software which you could install on a Windows computer or on a Mac. In terms of connected to your computer, you've got a couple of options. Bluetooth is one way of doing it, and that depends on how successful, the age of your computers. If that's going to work, to be fair, the only way to do it is to actually test it. I will quickly try and show you that as well, quickly how to connect. USB is the most reliable, but the downside of USB is the fact if you want to actually program it and then do stuff with the robot while it's still connected, the cable is too short. So you need to think about that. And the other way of doing it, which I do not believe you've been given these, I'm not 100% certain, Neil might be able to tell me, is this is a Bluetooth, I say it's a Bluetooth dongle, which is a little tiny adapter, which I bought separately. So I got extras. I'm not quite sure. If you're having problems with Bluetooth and USB isn't really cutting it properly, these things you would need in order to allow you to connect a bit more efficiently. I do not know why they don't come with them anymore. They used to come with them. They don't anymore, which is a bit of a shame. So let me go back and actually show you how you connect. So if I go to the mBlock software, so this is connected with, so this mBlock is installed on my computer. It's sort of just sitting as a piece of software, and simply you have to click connect, and then a box is going to pop up and asking you to show what can be connected. Now, within the web-based version, USB is pretty much the only way you can connect, okay? Or using this dongle, which acts like a wireless USB. And so all I do is I'm just going to plug the device in. I'm not going to insult anyone by telling you where to plug things in. Once you plug it, you can see it pops up. This is a bit weird just because I'm on a Mac, but on a PC, it will say COM4 or COM6 or something like that. It will say something like that. You click connect, and then we are connected. That's it. We know we're connected because it's just connected here. You've got disconnect. And live is normally what I like to do in quite a lot of these because it means that it automatically updates. So in a minute, I'm going to get you to try and connect your MBot if you've got it with you and just have a quick go at doing something, a little tiny challenge. So one nice thing to do just to make sure you know it's working properly is to make the LEDs turn on. I do this quite a lot. I've actually spent an entire lesson doing this with children in my school. Just to get them the idea of how to connect and how to make something happen, looking at sequencing. And you can do more with it as well within selection as well. But if I drag this block on, this is going to display these colors. You can use RGB values. So this could be something if you're, you want to push beyond just simple colors. So if I click on one of these blocks, if I click, it will, on the device, it's going to display on the device on the back. Okay. And depending on which one click is going to show you all the lights on the back of the it's not the MBot, it's the CyberPi. The whole thing is an MBot, but the CyberPi is a separate bit. And then if you click on that bit, it will do the same thing. And this will make it all go red because you've got RGB values of red, 255 and 0, 0 and 0. Okay. So I'm just going to pause again for a second, just while I just try and connect that correctly, and just give you 2 minutes to try and have a go at connecting your device to your computer. Yep, cool. Neil has just agreed with me because I'm going to disconnect something and reconnect something. So I'm going to try and do it on the actual piece of software as well. So while you have a quick go at that. So I've got too many things open. Oh, that's one. I've got that open and this open, which is why sometimes if the browser open too many times, it conflicts. I don't know what to do. So I'm just going to open that up again, and then let's just plug that in to make sure it is working. Again, this is the bit that's the most fiddly, making sure it is connected, because it says connected, and then we do something really simple. Can we make it display? And of course, live demos don't do what they're supposed to. Ah, that's why. Turn it on. That would help, wouldn't it? Good. So there we go. So on my MBot, might not be coming out on your screen very clearly, but you can see that on the back of the robot, we've got some colored lights. So if I choose a different block, so if I wanted to use the RGB values and click, let's not use it for 1 second because I want to shout to you. So click this one, and then that one will make it all go red on the back of the MBot. Now, does anyone have any issues with connecting? Because maybe we can try and troubleshoot that if that is a bit of an issue. But this is using, as I said, this is using the online software. It works fine with the USB. I want to try and show you the Bluetooth just to show you how that works. I'm just going to open up the software on my computer because you can use Bluetooth with that. But of course, it didn't. In all live demos never work properly, do they? So this is just loading the MBot software, which is the installed version. Now what I'm going to do though is close this to make sure there's no conflict between the two things. That's probably why it was being funny. So now again, this is the software. To connect to it, we just click the connect button, but this time you can use Bluetooth. Okay, and that's the extra detail. So you notice on the web-based version, there is no option for Bluetooth at all. But with the installed version, you can choose Bluetooth. The downside with this is the fact the Bluetooth name, that's the Bluetooth name. It should be the closest device to your laptop. But of course, if there's lots of them, that you might have a little bit of an issue around that to start with. If I click connect, again, it will beep at you. It makes a noise when it's connected, which is great. And then again, just to make it quick, let's just make it display a light. And again, that's worked via, I don't need the cable plugged in this time because of course it's worked without it. So it is much better to do it without a cable installed because you want it to be wireless. You absolutely want it to be wireless. That's absolutely fine, Amy. So in terms of making the LEDs light up, all I'm doing is something I call direct drive, where I'm just clicking on the block. That's all I'm doing to run the block. If you were going to do this properly, if you're doing it with the kids, you might have an event at the top, and then when you hit the space bar, so if I change this now, so I'm going to, this is what's quite nice about the blocks, it's nice and easy. So now if I hit the space bar, if you watch my screen, it's all gone red. Okay, so it's just a slightly different event. The act of clicking is an event in inverted commas, but of course, from a programming point of view, it doesn't really make sense, but it's good for just quickly doing something. I'm just going to give you another minute just to see if anyone needs a quick bit of help, just to sort of play around with that for a second. I'm hoping everyone has successfully connected it either via Bluetooth or by USB cable. And what we're going to try and do next, we're going to have a quick look at some of the first session, really, on the lesson plans, which is basically, can we make the MBot move? And we're going to give that a little go as well. Any other quick questions? We're going all right for time, plenty of time. Don't do those people. Oh,
We
go
have
on.
a couple of questions in the chat box.
In the chat, yeah. What is the program called when you download it? The program is called it's called MBlock. So if I put in the chat, I'll put the link. So this link, I'll quickly put this chat in. Copy link URL. I'll put this into the chat. This will take you to the page basically that takes you through all the options of how to install MLink, which you're going to need for the web-based version, and or the MBlock software that you'll need for if you're installing it on Windows or on a Mac.
Nick,
Hello.
sorry to interrupt,
Hello.
lovely.
Oh, I
Hello,
recognise it.
nice to see you
Hello.
again. Yeah. Hi. What I meant, sorry, by my question is we're using the browser-based version because we can't install anything. And when I upload the code to the MBot, what's the program called? Because when I search for the program on the CyberPi, there's like program main and then program 2, 3, 4. Which one does it default to?
Are you using the USB
Yes.
lead? Okay, so that's a great question. So clicking upload instead. So the difference with upload is, of course, it's a program that has to run, so it has to be built differently. Because you notice when I've clicked upload, all those vanish. Yeah, because they aren't active. They don't work anymore as blocks. So when CyberPi starts up is what you need to make sure you've got at the top, and then you should be able to. Let me just play around with this for a second. I normally do it in live mode almost exclusively. So it should pop up as an option. Let me just demo this live. Don't we love live demos? So this is going to go here. So this is mine's connected by Bluetooth, but it doesn't make any difference. So I'm going to click upload.
Yep, that worked.
Yep, and then it works straight away because it just runs the program. Yeah. Cool. There you go. Excellent. I'm glad I helped there. Yeah, you win. Any other questions? Okay. Sorry, Eric. Sorry, I've just missed a couple. Blah blah blah. It doesn't want us to download software. I don't have MBlock, but I've been able to make a move. Is that you can make it move using the thing, but that is it. You won't be able to do anything else. You cannot program it without the software being downloaded. So you're going to have to look at that. You need the MLink. The MLink software, because I don't know if Christine, you've got the MLink software installed, or you just plugged. Are you using a computer? You can unmute yourself, Christine.
Hello, sorry, I was just finding the mouse. So yeah, no, we've not installed MLink. So
yeah. You're using a Windows.
Where it says Windows PC. So
yeah.
where it says switch to MLink, there's a use. What's it?
Yes.
What was it called? Use direct connection.
Yeah.
And
so
then serial. Yeah. So no need to install anything.
Yeah. So that's fine. That will depend on your device. Like a Chromebook, that will not work for it. You need the piece of software for it. But yeah, because it doesn't work without it, because I've tried it. So that's it on your own. Have your own journey with this. So I'll quickly show you what Christine was talking about. IDE.mainblock.cc. So this is the browser-based version, which is what Amy was just saying. So where is this switch to direct connection? Click. Bluetooth is an option, but it's very, very flaky. I've not found it useful, but Bluetooth does do it on there. Again, it depends on your device. And then serial is going to be, if you've got a serial connection, if it works, it should come up there with the USB, if that's set up correctly. The only way to really do it is to test it, to check how it works. Cool. Yeah, good. Thank you, Christine. Yeah, cool. This is one of the problems with devices like this. The connection bit varies from school to school, and I've done it this way, and this way in the past, and other people need to do it this way and this way and this way. So the browser is the easiest way to do it, to be fair. And connection is the best way. These little dongles is a really good way of getting around Bluetooth, because they're supposedly a Bluetooth dongle. I don't know if they are. It's a good way of getting around using the device's Bluetooth, and also not having to use a USB lead if you are having difficulties. They're a good way around it. Okay, let's move on a little bit then. I think most of us have got connected. We've had a little play around. So what we're going to do is The first lesson talks about making the MBOT move. Okay, that's what it's about. But we're all teachers here. We're all computing teachers. I'm not going to take you through the lesson step by step. I'll quickly do that in a minute. I just want to demonstrate, talk about the fact that these two blocks of code, okay, I'm hoping everyone in the room, if I ask you to predict what it does, would identify the fact these both make the MBOT move. There are more blocks available, but I'm just focusing on these two for now. So these make the robot move forward. What I'd like you to try and do is, can you create a simple program using keyboard inputs, okay, that will make the MBOT move? So this is where you're going to have to think, if you're doing this with the class, I have to think algorithmically, what are the algorithms we're having to do here? So if I push the forward button, what's going to happen? The backwards button, what's going to happen? The left and right button. And there's more than one solution to left and right, because there's a couple of different types of blocks. There's a turn 90 block. This is where it gives you the option to explore it. The kids are going to come up with different responses to this anyway, which is nice. That's what programming is all about. So that's what I'd like you to try and do. I'm just going to show you those people who need a little bit of support to start with, how I would start doing this. This is me going back to the MBlock software. Cool. I think I'm still connected. So what I would be doing here is, once I've got to make sure, again, if you close the software down, you're probably going to have to add the, I know, I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back to the browser because that piece of software is not playing ball. So here's my MBot. Then I'm going to go to the chassis, and these are the options for movement. There's lots of different ways of moving, but let's just assume let's move forward. And if I want it to move forward when I push the arrow key, I'm going to go to the events. I'm going to click on when space key pressed and change this to up arrow. And then that should allow the remote MBot to move forward. There is an obvious problem with this program that some of you are going to come up with, and then you can tell me about what that is in the chat, or unmute yourself and go, oh, wait a second, how do I do this? And my response to that is going to be, well, you need to program it to do that. Okay, I'm going to let you think about what I'm talking about there in a second. Okay, so again, give you a couple of minutes. If there's any questions, people having struggle, either put in the chat or chime in, and then I'll try and assist you while people are having an explore to try and make the MBot move using the arrow keys. If you want to be if you want to be a rebel and use WASD, you can if you really must. But I always say arrow keys. Go. I'm going to close. There we go. I finally opened. Finally. It took so long. I always find the web interface much better. It just works better than the software, personally. See if I can actually get the Bluetooth working on this. Ooh, it might be fine on this Mac. This is the problem. Older computers, different Bluetooth. It's flaky. It does not work with Chromebooks at all. And I've got new Chromebooks. The Bluetooth does not work that way. You have to use M-Link. Do different ways of doing it. So if I now push the arrow key, my robot is now moving, but there's something it's not doing, okay, which is a bit annoying. Just seeing in the chat if anyone's got any questions. Stop. Has anyone spotted the little issue with the programming you're going to come across yet? Chuck it in the chat if you can. Yes, that's absolutely correct, Amy. When you take the CyberPi unit off like that, this is talking to this, okay? So when this is not connected, you are not programming, the instructions aren't going to it. Though my one is still moving forward, even though I've disconnected it because that's the last instruction it took, and it is still performing that instruction. But yeah, you need the CyberPilot unit attached. That's fine. That's why you're on the training, Amy. That's absolutely fine. Do you remember there was a WhatsApp group that's been mentioned a couple of times? That's there for support, and that's there for to making sure you're celebrating the achievements, things like that you're doing. I'm just going to add to mine because this is going to give people a clue because mine is not doing something. So I'm going to do this. There's a couple of different ways of doing this. I'm going to do it the better way. Oh, I've disconnected mine. I've got to connect it again. Again, when you pull off that unit, it stops working. So you've got to remember. As long as yours works, Amy, if you've demonstrated it works, great. Test it. Do not do it in front of a class. Okay, as long as that works with your devices, you do need to make sure it's possible. It looks like it is. The downside you're going to have is the fact if the USB lead for the computer is this long, it's 1 meter long. So in terms of getting it any distance away from your computer, in terms of controlling it, that will limit what you can do if you're not connecting via Bluetooth. So yeah, within browser, yes, you can do it as long as it works, but do test it. I cannot guarantee that without using M-Link, it will work until you've tested it in your environment. Okay. I'm sure we can support with that in CreativeHUT if you get stuck with that. But that's why M-Link is something that gets around that quite a bit. Yeah, the dongle absolutely works. The dongle really does work. It basically fakes a USB connection, and that should work a bit more efficiently. Anyone got any other questions, queries? Or hopefully people have played. Has anyone managed to make it work successfully? Have they got an MBot moving around their desk or the floor of their classroom? The nice thing about it being wireless is you can absolutely have races. I've had kids do once you've got it done, you can get the kids to do little races around the classroom to see who's got the best program to allow it to happen. Again, these are just nice starter activities. It is the first lesson actually within the units of work you've got, but these are just nice starter activities to get kids involved, interested in what it can do, and then you can start to build on that from that point onwards. You've installed the software, but you can't get to move. Have you connected it? That is the question. So what I've got on my screen here is the beginning of zoom in. There we go. That's the beginning of. Sorry, my alarm went off. That's the beginning of the program. So when the up arrow key press, you want it to move forward. You've got to make sure you've added the MBot chassis and you've used those blocks. Excellent, Amy. Great. Christopher, any more? Do you want to add? Maybe unmute yourself to quickly ask. Cool. Okay. These are nice activities to do with kids to build them, assuming they are. I've done it with young children before. I've done it as young as year 5, but you do have to go around and tighten all the screws up afterwards because they don't. They're not tight enough. You do get tons of spares with these, tons and tons and tons of spares. So if you do lose a screw, but it's quite important to make sure you tighten everything up because bits do, not I say bits don't fall off, but the screws do come loose over time, especially if they sort of get wobbled around a bit and used quite a bit. But they are really robust. They are. I'm not going to say throw them on the floor, but they will fall off a desk quite happily, and you can bend them back into shape, and they will happily keep working. Yep, so exactly. Neil's just mentioned that again, just to remind you, if you do get problems, connect to CreativeHUT via the platform or via the WhatsApp group. That's what it's there for. When you get stuck, if you get stuck, the only way, if you don't suffer in silence in terms of working it out, because you need to get this bit of getting it connected is the most challenging bit, because it's the bit you've got to train your children to do. And once they've got it, they'll be fine with it, but you have to make sure it works consistently, because there's nothing more frustrating than doing programming, clicking a button, and nothing happening. Cool. I think unless there's any major questions right now, I'm going to move on a little bit, because we've got about sort of 8 minutes left before we go sort of I hand back for any sort of specific Q&As generally, or something, other things you want to ask me. So this is sort of an overview of all of the curriculum resources that CreativeHUT have uploaded to that platform for you. It comes direct from MakeBlock itself. MakeBlock have tons and tons of resources actually on their website for these tools. So if there's something that you're like, oh, I'm not sure about that, or you want something simpler or more complicated, there's tons of stuff out there. So always be aware of that, because you might want to you might need to supplement, or you might need to make some different decisions. We're all teachers, we're professionals. We need to know how to adapt it to the needs of the children in our classroom. But there are 9 lessons, within this getting started guide, I suppose. And each of them roughly are 45 minutes to an hour. Again, that may vary depending on abilities, etc. The first one is talking about making the MBOT move. It's as simple as that. So I'm just going to quickly scroll through just to highlight a couple of bits and bobs from it. And then again, if there's any significant questions, I try to field them. But again, quite a lot of this stuff might be stuff to come up later on as you get further down your journey with it. There's some really nice stuff with AI, which I was trying to make work last night and I couldn't. So I don't know if there's a bug with the software at the moment. But equally, maybe there's something even I was doing wrong when I was exploring it, because the AI aspects of this software are new. It's not something that even I've looked at in a great deal of depth. Let me just go to the live document. So this is this is broken up on your platform. But as I said, let's move, sensing data, listening to the MBOT, seeing with sound, sightseeing, driving, networking, and then this is the AI stuff towards the end. It talks about pedagogy. Some of this stuff, which I've shown you already, comes directly from this guide. These are all the other bits you can get to add to it. There's tons and tons of expandability with this resource in the long run. We talked about all of that. So the first one, as I said, is all about making it move, making the MBOT move with precision, because that's a quite important thing to be able to do, to move it carefully. It talks about the USB-C cable or the dongle. Doesn't mention Bluetooth, because Bluetooth is massively unreliable in a classroom of 30 children. You can see it talks about the duration. It's a fairly standard lesson plan, gives you the beginning of the lesson, setting the scene, and then activities, hands-on activities, etc. So you can see that's how they're all structured. So it's really useful and easy to use as a teacher, especially if you're not as confident. But like anything, I say this to all teachers I train and work with, you do need to look at this and have a go at it yourself before you teach the lesson. Do not try and do it with the children. Okay, which is why I've emphasized the fact you've got to make sure that the connection issues work and it's consistent. You understand how to make it work, because again, there's nothing worse than it falling down at that first hurdle. So this is talking about how it works, gives you examples, explains everything, trying it out. Are you trying to get the MBOT from one place to another with precision? The programs we've been just having to play with has not got precision in it. So therefore, this is where you're going to have to iterate on your design and do more with it. But you could equally do the activity I've just done as a starter and then move into this as well. Same with that light thing. Can you do light patterns and things like that? Again, just simple activities to get the kids involved and interested in it before you're worrying about the next steps, because you've got to work out that how to connect it, make sure they've got that bit working. Keep the cognitive load low to make sure they're understanding all the separate elements, because there's quite a lot going on with these robots when you actually break it all down. Lesson 2 is talking about sensing data. This is quite nice. This is using the panel on the design to actually read out sensor data. And the sensor data, of course, can come from the ultrasonic sensor or other places. One of the things I will point out about this guide, because I was reviewing it in preparation for this, some of the blocks look different on this guide to what they are currently in the program. So be aware of that. This block does not look like that. It's slightly different. It's similar, but the show ambient light intensity, there's an extra couple of bits. It's similar, but do be a little bit aware of that some of the blocks may not match exactly the same. So again, this is why have a play with it first. So when you click a button, the value will display in the middle of the screen, which is quite nice. That's all that lesson is all about. That's it. There's a little bit of if statements to show you, to do different things using the buttons. Also talks about ultrasonic sensor in that one. So that's what it should look like. That gives you a number there, which is quite nice. And then when we're moving on, I'm not going to go through all of these. I'm just going to go for the first couple. Again, trying it out. You can see it's built exactly the same way. Listening to the MBot, this is looking at recording and playing back sound because there's a microphone in this, which is quite cool. So again, you can push a button, it will record your voice, and then it will play it back to you, which is quite nice. So using another one of the sensors on the device. It's a hard one to see, but it's on the CyberPi just above the joystick. There are some little sensors up there. So again, it shows you examples, talks about the code blocks, how to do it. Again, gives you a basic program, etc., etc., etc. I'll just scroll right the way down to the end just to sort of let you see where we get to, because I'm not going to go through everything. So this lesson is talking about, sorry, I scrolled too fast there. This one is looking at movement. Yeah, this one is trying to use the sensors to make it move around. So sightseeing, it's going to use the color sensors to actually allow it to sort of guide itself around. And this is sort of the level of detail we're talking when we're getting further up into the complexity. So this is a far more complicated program. If you read through this, again, computer science teachers here, if you read through it, you can probably work out what that is doing. But basically, when you're pushing the button, it's asking it to follow a line, and then it's looking at sensor values, etc. So you can see it starts really simply, but then actually you sort of get quite complicated quite quickly. And so the AI stuff is even further down where you can get it to respond to what you're saying, and then use some machine learning as well within that. I will put the links to both of these things into the chat, just so you've got them. Let's just copy the link. Oh, sorry. Let's actually do this to everyone. So that's one link. That's to some of the MakeBlock resources. And copy this link URL and paste this one in as well. So these are a couple of extra links, which has got more stuff beyond, of course, the stuff we've already been shared with you. If you're looking for something maybe a bit simpler, or maybe even you go get through all those 9 lessons, you're great. What's next? This is where you can look for the next things as well. Let's just check the chat if there's anything else that needs to be added or any questions we've got in the chat. So if there is anything question-wise you want to ask, now is the time to query it, ask it. Again, remember, look at that WhatsApp group in order to get support as well. Make sure you've joined it if you haven't already. I'm going to pause for one final time before we hand back and do the Q&A, just to see if there's any last-minute questions, but because we're about at our 45 minutes. I'm liking some people. I can see some people with cameras on looking like intently staring at their screen, which is great. That shows they're really thinking. Emily, I can see. Right. Okay. I think if there's no direct questions right now, I'm hoping that that's given you a nice overview of what you needed to know in terms of setting it up, getting started, how to connect, giving you just some time to play that with some initial ideas, and you've got a little bit of an overview of at least the beginning of the curriculum resources. Cool. I'm going to stop there and I'll jump in, or I'll go onto the chat if there's anything specific there. I'll hand you back now.
Thank you so much, Nick. It was a wonderful session and extremely informative. And I love the enthusiasm you have shown throughout the session and doing the kits. Seems like you have done it multiple times and haven't lost the enthusiasm at any point.
I've been using this device in some way for at least 6 or 7 years, and I think it's a great, really, really great little device.
So here we have the testimonial from you yourself that these devices are great since you have been doing it for such a long time now. All right. So thank you so much. It was a lovely session. I am going to open this floor for questions now. You can, all of you, feel free to unmute, ask any questions if you have. We'll keep the recording on because if anyone wants to revisit any of the questions and the answers to those questions, it'll be really beneficial. Before any one of you want to ask, I just want to point out that since Nick has already mentioned multiple times, please do join the WhatsApp group. The reason is that you can quickly ask those questions and we will quickly respond on WhatsApp as well. It is not for spamming purposes, just for helping you with your concern, with your queries. From technical point of view to the platform point of view, we'll answer ASAP. Since you want the program to run really quickly, we'll be there to support you throughout. All right. Any questions, anyone? Feel free to unmute.
Apra, do you want to just quickly bring up the reward slide whilst we are doing the Q&A? At least you will have the reward slide visible to everyone, because I'm conscious of the time and the teachers have to go back home. So quickly go through the Q&A and have the slides there.
Sure. All right, so I'm sharing my screen now and let me know if it's visible to all of you. As mentioned, we have the surveys, the CPD sessions, the interlock sessions, and the expert talks, which are for the students, and the sustainability challenge. To make sure that all of them are successful, we have some really exciting prizes for all of the participating schools. We are trying to make sure that all of you, each one of you, get some or the other prize for participating in being active. So I'll just quickly walk over all the prizes we have. Firstly, we have weekly prizes. Every week or every bi-week on a lesson by lesson basis, we will have one lucky teacher who will win a gift hamper for active participation, like filling the survey, uploading the pictures, or attending the sessions like this one, or the next upcoming ones, and also getting your students to the expert talks and submitting the challenge. Now, the competition prizes are for winning the sustainability challenge. As you saw, Vanessa, our representative from Cognizant, the sponsor company, will be donating these laptops to the schools who submit the best sustainability challenge. So what the challenge constitutes, it's basically you as a school selecting a problem, a climate problem, and developing a solution for that problem on your own and submitting it to us, where Cognizant will be the judges as well as will be distributing the prizes. So it'll be a group of students who will be working on this project, and the submission deadline is 15th October, but feel free to submit your entries much before that, because the winners will be announced in November, right before Christmas, when it gets extremely hectic. All right, we also have grand finale, where we will select top 3 winners, combining the weekly prizes and the competition, the sustainability challenge, where the first prize will be laptops, the second will be an AirPod Pro, and the third will be an Amazon voucher. So these are some of the really amazing prizes. And if you ask me, they are kind of freebies. We are attending these CPD sessions for our knowledge, for our benefit, and we are getting so much out of it.
And just to add to that, what we have done is the competition prize goes to the school, but however, the weekly prize and the grand finale, it is for the teachers. So these hampers are exclusively for the teachers who have participated in this program. It is just a small gesture to thank you for your time and your efforts.
Yes, thank you, Divya. So just to again clarify, these are the price points that we have, or the point system for getting the weekly prizes as well as the grand finale. For joining the channel or the group, filling up the form, uploading images and pictures, engagement on your public facing page, attending these sessions, and submitting the challenge. Even just submitting the sustainability challenge in itself has around 50 points. So you can see there are multiple ways to gain those points and gain these exciting prizes. So I've already had amazing responses for the pre-programmed survey as well as images, for the images and videos for the journal section. And I really hope we see the same excitement from all of you moving forward. All right, so thank you all of you for joining. It was an amazing session. Thank you, Nick. If any one of you have any questions, again, please do join the WhatsApp group. Do email me. We are there for you 24/7 to assist you. All right.
I think there are some questions in the chat, Apra. So I think any questions before we wind up for the day?
Nick, we have certain technical questions if you want to take them up.
Yeah, I was just reading that and just responding in the chat. Yeah, someone was asking about the Bluetooth issue. The problem with Bluetooth is it is unreliable. I was just fiddling around with it with the Chromebook, and I made it work on my Chromebook. So clearly they've done some updates since last time I was trying to do it. So if you can't make it work with Bluetooth, it's probably because your device could be just not using the low energy Bluetooth, possibly. It's Bluetooth is a very fiddly one. It could be that your school's got it locked down for some reason, so therefore it can't connect to new devices. But yeah, if the Bluetooth doesn't work, click on the button that, of course, says direct connection. See if you can connect with the USB. See if that's possible. It's one of those things. The only way to do it is if you share your screen. I can possibly talk you through it, but it's sort of sadly a case-by-case basis on that one. But yeah, direct connection is probably the easiest way of doing it, Solomon. But
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let me try and see if I can share my screen. Yeah.
Oh,
can you see my screen now?
I can indeed. Oh, this is great. Excellent. You
If
see where so click where it says disconnect for me.
Disconnect. Yep.
Cool. Scroll up a little bit in that little box.
Okay.
Yeah. So click on connect. Sorry. Scroll down. Click on connect. Just wanted to check.
Connect.
Yeah. I just want to see what actually pops up. So this is connected via USB. So click connect. You are plugged in now. That's what that means.
Yes.
Yep. So when you do that, it doesn't do anything. Or
it connects and it works through USB.
Yeah. So close that. Okay. So you're on a browser, I take it.
No, I downloaded the.
You downloaded it. Okay. Cool. That's fine. Close that for me. Just scroll up a bit. Your screen's a bit squished, which is why I can't see all of the options. That's all. Yeah. See, because you're using the installed software, it doesn't give you the option to switch out of direct connection. So that is all this is your device is going to let you do, because it's not picking up your Bluetooth, because it would appear as a Bluetooth. When I did it on my device, it said USB and Bluetooth. That was an option. So Bluetooth may be disabled on your device. I don't know if it's a school device. Schools sometimes at admin level. So there you go. That's it. Again, this is exactly
I'll speak to the.
Yeah, it's exactly the type of thing to post in the WhatsApp group. This is why it's there for, because this is a real classic example of what you do need to resolve this. But yeah, that's it. So you may not be able to get it working on the devices. You might have to either rely on USB or maybe get these dongles, which again, if that's something the only way around it, that will work because it thinks it's USB. That's what will happen. You plug it in and it will pretend to be a USB cable, but it's still wired.
Yeah. How do I get the dongles?
That is something which I'm sure Neil will get in touch with people if they look like they're going to need those things. Because as part of the package, probably something Neil will be able to organise if it's something we need to. But maybe we might need to do another call just with you to try and work out what the technical issue is. But it looks like Bluetooth may not be enabled. But this again could be something going back to your IT support in your school and ask them.
Yeah.
Oh, do I have Bluetooth on? Is it enabled, etc.?
Okay, I'll speak to them tomorrow. Hopefully, it'll get so.
And
I'll let you know.
Cool. Thank you. Cheers.
Okay, no, thank you very much.
Thank you for that. Cool. Brilliant. That's a great example of a problem which is fiddly. Yeah, cool. That's fine. Good. Neil was just put that in the chat as well. Cool.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Cool.
Thanks. Goodbye. Log off here.
Any more questions, anyone? Amy, you, since your school has already assembled most of the kids, I believe, by now.
Excellent. I think
Okay.
if we have no more questions, then thank you, everyone. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Neil. Thank you, everyone. And
Thank you.
as Nick and Neil, we have been saying, please join the WhatsApp group. We are here to support you. Initial first few weeks, you may need support. So please do join the group, and we look forward to working with you.
Right. Yes,
Awesome.
as again, Divya mentioned, do please join the WhatsApp group. We can solve all of your problems there much more faster and answer your questions and help you with those questions. If it's a school policy issue, we can assist you in finding alternatives, maybe some way or the other, maybe the support button on the channel, but do join the group. It'll be really fast and efficient for you to be able to carry on the program. All right, no more questions, and everyone needs to practice with the robots before they do it with the students, I believe. Yes, Nick, I think that's it. That's very much it. All right. Thank you all then for joining. I will be sharing this recording right after this meeting with all of you. Share it with other teachers who will be running the program alongside you. And this will also be uploaded on the platform, so you can access it from there as well. But I will be sharing with you the recording of this CPD session. So you have nothing to worry about. And as I mentioned, if you have any doubts when you start practicing with the robots, our team is there from CreativeHUT. We can have a one-to-one call as well. Once you have gone through the kits, once you have having it practice, tried assembling it, tried running it. All right. Great. No more questions then. Thank you so much. And thank you for giving your time after the school hours. We'll see you in the next session, next CPD session, which will be very soon. And the interlock sessions as well as the expert talk. Great. Thank you all.
Thank
Bye.
you. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, Emily. Bye, Griffiths. Bye, Christine.
Bye, Neil. Thank you.
That was a great session, Nick. Thank you so much.
That's all right. Yeah, it was. I think people were happy.
You may stop. I think you may want to stop recording. Sorry.